Morning. Okay, you've got to say morning. You're with me as well.
Morning.
So we've just come to the Hadlam Garden Centre for a breakfast. Whilst the boys were at school, my car's getting its tyre changed. And we thought this was quite cool, and it just shows how places are adapting and becoming more accessible. So look, they've made like a little sensory garden. I'll turn it around to show you. Look, there's a thing here, look, which you put, this is what we want to make at home. Put your ball in, goes down the gutters. That one didn't work so well. It worked a minute ago. You get the gist.
That would cause a meltdown.
That would cause a meltdown. We've got some bars. I think these are just wood, aren't they?
Yeah.
To make little musics. Some spinny bits.
It's nice a little. They've got these pet cards.
Then look, they've done
they're
these.
not actually pet cards, are they? But
No, they're descriptive cards, maybe. So look, they've got touch, so it's sensory. This is really cool. There's a smell one. Obviously, there's rosemary here. Mason would eat all of that. That would be gone in seconds. Obviously, they've got water fountain. You hear, smell. I think that's just really good. But also, look. So if your child is blind, they've got it in Braille. They've done it in little gems, so they can come along and touch it, and they can feel what it says. How cool is that?
now we might need to tell them that I don't think this is.
Yeah, I think maybe an autistic child's come along and eaten these gems. One with Pika.
Yeah. Now
Some of these gems have come off.
shit.
Now it doesn't say anything.
Oh, now it says shit.
Shit. And I'm pretty sure is that C? I don't know. But yeah, how cool is that? So I'm just going to go spend some of Jake's money now and buy some plants, aren't we, Jake?
Yep.
We'll spend some money. Oh look, there's some sensory bits there. But yeah, Hadlam Garden Centre. Sorry, excuse the sweaty appearance, but I'm sat in my car and it's currently 33 degrees in here. But I've just come out of Mason's parents' evening at school, and he's done really well. They're really impressed with him. Because, as you're all aware, he's been in pads for 12 years, so we're trying to try and toilet train him, but it's a long process because, you know, it's been his routine for 12 years to wear a nappy and someone, you know, clean up for him. But he's been going without a pad at school, and he has been having accidents, but that's fine, that's expected. But it's longer periods now between the accidents, which is great. So that's all positive. He's just really happy, really content. And I think now at secondary school he's in a much kind of smaller class. So whereas at primary there was maybe 8-9 children in a class, there's now like 5. And they are basically look like adults compared to him. So because he prefers the company of adults, he's happier because he has got no time for little kids. They were just annoying to him. So yeah, it's been really positive. So that's a good one. They just all love him. All the staff are brilliant. They're literally like a little second family to him. I couldn't have asked for a nicer bunch of people to work with him. So happy with him there at the minute. But yeah, so now I'm just about to pop into Tesco's to go and buy some bits because it's Jake's mum's birthday tomorrow, so she's come round to have her presents today. Chuck some bits on the barbecue. Buy some more ice lollies because that's what the boys are living on. So yeah. So Gray had an eventful day at school. It sounds like he kept his teachers on the toes. And we laugh about it now, but at the time I can imagine it was sheer panic in that whilst they were dealing with another child in the class that was having a meltdown, Gray disappeared, and he'd climbed over the fence in his playground, and they have like individual little playgrounds within their classes, so it's not one big massive playground at his school. Gone into the early years department, had climbed over into their playground and had hopped the fence and tried to escape out of school. So fun. They'd lost him for a bit, but that 5 minutes feels like 5 hours when you lose a child, and we can relate to that because it brings me on to the subject of how we lost Gray on holiday. And when I say we lost Gray on holiday, what I will say is, and what I mean is, Jake and his dad lost Gray on holiday. But it's all right because they found him. And basically the situation was that we were on the beach on the first day. Me and Jake's mum went up to the cafe in the beach car park to go and get some chips for lunch because, you know, they didn't have pasties. Very disappointed, so I got a yoghurt on my screen because Bruno's had my phone in the car. In that time I saw Jake running across the beach, and I actually said to Heather, my mother-in-law, oh, Jake must be going to go and get the big drinks bottle, because I filled up a big drinks massive flask thing to keep in the car to top up the boys' bottles. So he must be going to get that. No, he then came sprinting towards us as we're waiting for our food to be done. I've never waited so long for 2 portions of chips, to be honest. He'd lost Gray. So sheer panic. He hadn't thought to go and tell the lifeguards on the beach that he'd lost his child. So I ran straight down to the beach. He's looking at me now sheepish because he knows he's in the wrong. So I ran straight down to the lifeguards to let them know that my child had gone missing. I didn't have to describe a lot because he was only wearing his pants. And as I'd got to the lifeguards, there was another woman who'd found Gray there talking to them, and he'd run all the way from the beach up to the main road. How long would you say that road was, Jake? How far would you say he ran?
Well, I probably ran 400 metres.
Oh, that's way more than that. Way more.
No, but I ran pretty 400 metres though.
400?
Yeah. It was a long way up. I was wearing Crocs and I was...
A long way, anyway. He ran a long distance, no shoes, just his boxers on. He had no pads on because obviously he was on the beach. So before I'd left the cafe, luckily I put boxers on him because he was just nude playing in sand as kids do. And she said, look, people are with him. I tried to catch him, but he wouldn't stop running because that boy's like Forrest Gump. He runs and he runs and he runs. He will not stop. He doesn't care. I think he was looking for me because he ran in the direction of the cafe, but obviously ran past. So I didn't see. And thankfully, I mean, someone must have been looking over him that day. He was found by a lady who was an SEN teacher who lived by the beach. So she was sat in the driveway, felt like miles away from where we were, holding him. He didn't have a care in the world, didn't care. And she was going, he just doesn't stop. Obviously she knew there was something amiss with him because he wasn't talking to her, so she just sat with him. I got in the car with the lady from the beach and her family, and bless them, they drove me up while Jake pegged it up the road with his Crocs on. Put him into sports mode, I imagine. Yeah, he was up there, but you know that 5 minutes or so feels like absolutely 5 hours. Your heart sinks, you go into, I felt sick, panic, because I instinctively thought, the sea, he's gone into the sea, he's gone to the rock pools and he's jumped in, he's drowned, he can't swim. You know, all these malarkey, the worst scenario comes into your head, but he'd ran up the main road, and I'm thankful he did, because if he'd gone into the sea, God knows what would have happened. But the bit that really pissed me off was, I mean, Jake heard me beeping when he was on the beach before he'd realised Gray had gone, but whilst he was running up the main road, a little kid, it's quite small, in just his pants, instead of people stopping and helping, 90% of people were beeping at him to get out of the road and not stopping to help. What's wrong with people? I know there's this thing of people are almost too scared to talk to children and help them, but if you can see a child that's come from the direction of the beach with just their pants on and is running in the middle of the road, no shoes, I mean, you'd think to stop and help. I'd think to stop and help. I don't care what people think. If there's a child, I'm going to help him. But yeah, so that was fun. That was the first day. So, safe to say, for the rest of the holiday, I was in charge of looking after Gray. The rains went on and didn't keep an eye off of him. But we did discover that if you just pitch up somewhere on the beach which is next to a rock that he can jump from, he'll just stay there for 2 hours straight and not move. So that's the plan. Because we booked for next year to go back. But yeah, that's the activities of Gray. Forrest Gump, escape artist. So for the next 4 weeks, whatever it is he's at school, pretty much going to have a one-to-one. Make sure the little bugger doesn't escape. Can't write this stuff, can you?